Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secure Team with some breaking news here. Now, I don't know exactly what the deal is, what's going on, but it appears that there has been a massive eruption on planet Mars out of one of Mars's most massive volcanoes it has on its surface. Well, supposedly ancient volcanoes, because according to NASA and the space agencies, there hasn't been any volcanic activity on Mars in over 50 million years, and yet, in these new images, courtesy of the European Space Agency's VMC Mars webcam, which snapped images here of what appears to be this massive plume of smoke, accompanied by its own shadow being cast down on the surface of Mars, coming out of the Arsia Mons caldera, extending over 2,000 kilometers to the west over the planet, captured in multiple images. I'm going to put a link to these down below to the Mars webcam, courtesy of the European Space Agency, and there may very well be some sort of cover-up happening here, but we'll get more to that in just a second. But I just want to take a closer look at these images. So here we have multiple images and different angles as the planet turned, or as the probe revolved around planet Mars, where you can see this is not just an image glitch. There is a very discernible, what appears to be a plume or some sort of explosion. I don't know if it's a volcanic eruption. I don't know if something detonated or exploded down on the surface. I mean, people are calling this a plume, if that's what it is, but whatever it is a massive structure that is casting its own shadow and connecting to one of these massive ancient volcanoes. And we'll talk more about these volcanoes here in a minute as well, something very strange about them. But Arsia Mons is the southernmost of 3 volcanoes on something called the Tharsis Bulge, near the equator of planet Mars. And just to the northwest of this is something called Olympus Mons, which most of you will know is the most massive and tallest volcano in the entire solar system. So this one's a little bit smaller, but still massive and ancient. We're talking millions, possibly hundreds of millions of years since any sort of volcanic activity. And you know what, we'll just touch on this now real quick, and I posted this in a video a year or two back, but if you look at these 4 volcanoes, you'll notice, and you can see this all the way zoomed in or zoomed out, that strangely, they take the formation of what appears to be a perfect triangular shape, with the most massive of them all, Olympus Mons, coming up here at the top, being the sort of top point, and then below, I mean, almost as if they're precisely placed, although I don't know how you would precisely place massive volcanoes, but you have the other 3 down below it, perfectly, what appears to be just perfectly spaced apart. These 3 smaller volcanoes, perfectly spaced between one another, and when connecting this triangle to Olympus Mons up here at the top. So I've always found that strange. You guys know that I have a ton of different theories about Mars. There have been thousands of images and just strange happenings around this planet. We have artificial structures down on the surface, things that look like perfect rectangular monoliths, casting shadows, sticking up out of the ground. Strange objects captured in the skies, both right above the surface from the Mars rover and taken from probes orbiting the planet. Strange shadows, very elongated shadows being cast down on the surface as if there's some sort of massive cigar-shaped object orbiting the planet. And then you have, from far away, this very strange triangular formation that just sticks out like a sore thumb. And so, yeah, this massive plume, or what appears to be a plume, is coming out of one of these smaller volcanoes here. And what others have also pointed out that is strange here is that there are 2 sets of images, one by the European Space Agency, which clearly show what appears to be a plume coming out of this volcano. And then we have another set of images captured by NASA and one of their probes, taken on the same day, at the same time, and yet we see nothing. We see no plume whatsoever, as you guys are seeing here in this 3D modeled map taken by NASA. No plume whatsoever. And that's extremely strange. And it makes you wonder, is NASA already getting ahead of this and editing this plume out? Or is something weird happening here? We just don't know yet. But there's no plume to be found on the NASA JPL images here. And these images here span from mid-September, around September 24th, all the way till October 10th. So we're talking about a plume or object here that has been sitting above Mars, spanning thousands of miles for weeks now. It's lasted for around 3 weeks. And yet on NASA MRO imagery, we see nothing, as you're seeing in this side-by-side comparison. And so the big question here is, has NASA deleted something, or has the ESA added something? Because it can't be both. Because we have images taken from 2 different space agencies at the same time, from 2 separate probes orbiting Mars. One of them features this massive plume, which is obviously there. I mean, it's casting a shadow. And the other, there's nothing. And if this is a plume coming from Mars, this would be probably the biggest space-related news ever. I mean, this is amazing. If an eruption has been captured and detected by the ESA and Mars Express, and if so, why the silence? Why have we heard nothing? I mean, even if it's not a plume, there's something in these images. Why have we heard nothing from the space agency? Why? And again, it may not be from the volcano. It may be from an asteroid strike, something happening from deep within the planet other than magma coming up, lava. It could be something totally different happening on the surface, some sort of explosion. It may not be a plume at all. We just don't know. So again, there's multiple angles of it. I'll put the links to it down below. You just sort of click the button, go from photo to photo. This thing is appearing for around 3 weeks straight. Something big is happening here. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to continue to follow it. So tell me what you guys think. Massive plume spotted on Mars coming out of one of these ancient volcanoes said to have been dormant for millions, hundreds of millions of years. So thanks again, guys. Be sure to subscribe, share, stay tuned. I've got more coming, and I will see you all back in just a bit.